Something I hear all the time is that people say that they are on the path. What they usually mean is that something in their perception has shifted. Something they once believed in no longer holds the same authority. Something they once identified as no longer feels central. The question isn't whether the shift was real, the question is whether they understand what that shift actually requires. Hey there, I am Jessa. I am a South American trained shaman. I have been working with Amazon plant medicine and Andean spiritual cosmology for nearly a decade. I'm also a Tantra coach, an alchemist, a channel, and an all around cosmic witch. So let's talk about it. You see, this matters because many people have had genuine spiritual openings without any framework for what follows. They've touched something real, and now they're trying to orient themselves inside a world that does not reorganize thresholds. Without orientation, several things happen. People confuse access with maturity. They confuse insight with integration. They sense responsibility, but they don't know where to place it. This leads to instability. It's not a dramatic collapse, but a subtle fragmentation. It's a chronic seeking, drifting between practices, periods of intensity followed by disorientation. The issue isn't sincerity, and it is not intelligence. It is the absence of shared structure. So when people talk about the spiritual path, they're pointing to a specific recognition that who we identify is not the only truth of who we are. This recognition can arrive through many different modalities, through meditation, yoga, prayer, devotion, medicine, even silence. There are different roads up the same mountain. They are not complete truths. They are different entry points into the same realization. What they all have in common is that they interrupt the assumption that the ego self is the center of reality. So let's first talk about what the path is not. The path is not the method, and it is not your peak experience. An experience can open the door, and a method can train your perception, but neither is the path itself. The path begins after the recognition occurs, when the way that you orient your life can no longer stay the same. That is where the work actually starts. See, the path is a reorientation. The path is the process of reorganizing a life around a much larger truth. It is not symbolic or aesthetically, you're reorganizing structurally. And this asks for a shift in identity, not in your personality, but in the center of your gravity. What you take guidance from, what you organize your decisions around, what you're accountable to. This is what the path requires. The path doesn't remove you from the world, it places you inside it with a different orientation. So, this is why the initiatory process is so important. For most of human history, this reorientation did not happen alone. People lived inside relational systems that reorganized when someone crossed a threshold. This could be puberty, parenthood, marriage, leadership, elderhood. These moments were not private, they were marked, they were witnessed, and integrated. Initiation wasn't ceremonial theater, it was a social technology, a spirit technology, and it existed in order to stabilize life's transformations. So, what we lost is important. As society became more individualized, those systems dissolved. Children no longer shared rooms with parents. Families were more fragmented. We put fences up between our neighbors. Elders were removed from our daily life, and transformation became a private experience. It became unwitnessed and unintegrated. The loss of initiation followed the loss of communal continuity. Not because initiation stopped being necessary, but because the structures that carried it actually collapsed and were no longer accessible. See, initiation performs very specific functions. It marks an ending, so that something can actually die and die gracefully. It holds the space in between, the unstable phase, where that identity dissolves, but it has not reorganized yet. It provides witnessing so that change is named and allowed for stabilization. It binds insight to responsibility. So power doesn't inflate or fragment. Without these functions, awakening opens without containment. So sensitivity increases without grounding, and identity loosens without coherence. This is why it is so easy for so many people to go into these peak experiences, have these epiphanies, have these insights, have these breakthroughs, and still live from this place that is driven by ego knowing or ego experience. So, this way of living has consequences. This way of living has consequences. When initiation is absent, people don't fail morally, they drift structurally. Awakening occurs, but maturity lags behind it. That gap is where confusion lives. And that gap is what initiation was designed to address. Hey, so if this resonated, visit my website at jessafreimeyer.com to explore upcoming courses, free offerings, and don't forget to click the buttons. New videos on spiritual leadership, desire alchemy, and embodied transformation every week. See you next time.